Hey there guys, so Saints Row has had tons of gameplay pop out recently and it's safe to say a lot of new information has been shown. So I thought the best way to cover all bases without going into a ton of in-depth analysis videos that you've seen from many other YouTubers by now, is to go over 10 things I'm very much looking forward to in the Saints Row reboot, and 5 things I'm not so much looking forward to, aka 10 good points and 5 bad points. So I'm going to cover this pretty simply. It'll be 2 good points then a bad point, 2 good points and a bad point throughout the entire video to keep the structure simple, but obviously on screen you will see whether it's a good point or a bad point. So yeah, let's get into it. So, starting off with my first good point, customization. It's pretty undeniable that this will have the best customization possibly seen in gaming ever. It seems super extensive, super fun, and I think it's a must-have for anyone who is a huge customization buff, so to speak. I, for one, can't wait to make my character, and I'm very much looking forward to this Saints Row character creation demo that's going to be popping out very shortly. Next up, we have the map. When I saw the map's concept of having a desert and a city, I instantly thought GTA, and I know that that's not a good thing. But I feel like what they've done is very unique and not like GTA at all. I mean, yes, it has a desert and yes, it has a city. That's kind of where the similarities end, though. It seems that what they've done is managed to finally recapture the whole essence of having different areas for each district and making everywhere look unique. We were stuck there for too long and it was very bland and samey in each area. However, with this new Santo Ileso, I cannot wait to get my hands on the game to explore the map. So, coming up with our first bad point here, 25 main missions is a little low. I was looking forward to a nice long story, I'm not going to deny that, and I'm not saying that a long story is completely unavailable with only 25 missions. I mean, Saints Row 1 had, I think, like 36, is it, from what I read in a comment somewhere? I'm not too sure about that, but I know it didn't have a ton of missions, and it was still quite a long game. It's more about how these missions are balanced. If these missions are longer, well thought out, and unique, I'm completely fine with that. However, if they begin to fall down the same route of having a couple filler missions and missions that don't feel quite as unique as they should, I can't help but feel like 35 main missions is quite a bit too low for me. But hey, going back onto the good points though, I can't help but feel like the gang concepts are kind of perfect for what this game's aiming to be. So the whole Saints Row 2.5 style they're going for here, I feel like these gangs kind of fit the bill and they're exactly what we needed. So Panteros are clearly appealing to an older audience, Marshall are clearly appealing to a newer Saints Row 3 style audience, and the Idols quite clearly seem to be just a fun, action-packed style gang. It seems to me that they're a more unique concept than perhaps the other two, and they're there for kind of the fun missions. That's at least what I've got from the vibes I've been getting. Not a gang that's going to have no serious moments whatsoever, as we've seen in the cutscenes quite clearly, but not a gang that's supposed to be taken maybe as serious as the Ronin, for example. I feel like these gangs will kind of fit the bill for the whole Saints Row 2.5 concept of game, and I quite like what I'm looking at when it comes to the gangs. Next up, we have the fun factor. Saints Row has always had fun in its forefront, that is absolutely undeniable, but I can't help but feel that this game is taking that to a whole new level. Yes, it has taken parts from other popular games. No, I don't think that is a bad thing. I think that if it takes the good parts of other games and incorporates it into its own, I don't see how it can't make the overall product of Saints Row a better thing. I think that personally, the fun factor in this game is going to be insane, with stuff like the wingsuit, these new characters to kind of fall in love with hopefully over the time, driving looking more fun than ever, definitely a wacky tone at times in the open world. I think the fun factor is going to be kind of awesome, and I'm very much looking forward to just getting my hands on the game and having fun with it. Back onto a bad point though, the animations for the game, I'm not sure how I'm feeling about them. There's a couple that seem just a bit off and a bit stiff. There's two that come to mind and I'm going to play them for you right now. So as you can see, when picking up the shield, it kind of just seemed a bit weird. I don't know what it was, but it seemed just very off and not really fluid. And then the bar scene animation, there was something about that that I just did not like whatsoever. It just did not seem very, like, AAA, shall we say. It seemed very off. And now, I'm sure that these could be just placeholder animations. We don't know when this footage was from, and we don't know what's being worked on currently. And they did say that the delay was to polish the game, so it would make sense. But I can't help but feel like these animations are not really what I was looking forward to getting my hands on when it came to Saints Row. So next up, we're going to go on to the 2.5 tone. I'm definitely seeing a lot more of that, especially when it comes to the story. I know we haven't seen a great deal, but it seems like the cutscenes aren't just, laughing and joking. It seems to be a very serious style of cutscene and, having its serious moments. And I understand that these characters may not look how you want them to, but if the story's still semi-serious, I mean, that's all we can hope for at this point. So I quite like the 2.5 tone. I would say that the tone looks more Saints Row 2 in the story, and the tone looks more Saints Row 3 in the open world, which I don't think is a necessarily bad thing. Next up, we have the fact it's a fresh start. I think that Saints Row has definitely needed a good refresh, and whether you love or hate this direction of the new Saints Row, I think it's undeniable that the old direction of Saints Row was kind of getting a bit done. It was just complete, and I don't think we needed anything else on top of that. So having a fresh start with Saints Row is definitely something I'm quite happy about. So, next up on the bad point is two-player co-op. Now, I've obviously made a video talking about how they want to incorporate multiplayer in the future, and I don't think that having a two-player co-op is going to doom the game, if I'm being honest. I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world. But I think they could at least get a four-player co-op out before the game's launch, quite simply. I'm not sure how it works, obviously. I'm not a game developer, so they may not be able to. But for me, I feel like two-player co-op is going to hinder the game a little, and I'd like to play Saints Row with all my friends, not just one. But I can see why they're doing it if they plan on working on multiplayer in the future, and if this is just a basis for Saints Row, I completely understand. But, in an era where post-launch is kind of necessary for any sort of content and add-ons and updates, they could definitely incorporate a four-player co-op in the future. So, next up on the good points, we have the gameplay. The gameplay looks very fluid, it looks very fun, and despite a couple of animations looking a bit weird, I think it looks the most polished and fun in the entire series. From what I've seen, it looks very nice. It just looks really, it looks fun. That's the best way to describe it. It just looks really fun. Everything about it seems cool. The stuff like wingsuiting that looks amazing. The driving looks amazing. Gunplay doesn't look too bad, although I've heard the complaints of bullet spongy enemies being tossed around. I personally don't mind it that much. I've never had an issue with it, but I can definitely see why people may not like it. But for me, the gameplay looks near perfect. It's got great lighting, great action scenes. The stunt jumps look nice. I'm more than happy with its gameplay. Another thing I love is its references to older games. Yes, I've seen all the little Genkyus hidden out through the game. I've seen all the Cabots. Everything about it looks fantastic. I love all the little nods and winks to the older games, and I'm hoping that they pull through with that in the full game, so there's plenty for us to discover. Back onto the bad points, Nina's voice acting, it kind of seems a little bit off. I don't necessarily know why it seems so off, and I personally can't pin it down. But I've heard a lot of people have this complaint, and it's a little worrying. Now, this could just be placeholder voice acting, and that would make sense completely. But if it's not, it seems a little off. Is it something I'll get used to? Yeah. Is it the end of the world? No. I can definitely see people being irritated by it, but hey, if I bring it up now, perhaps it could be fixed. So, I think Nina's voice acting is a little bit off, and it may just need a little work doing to it. I'm not too sure what it is about it, though, which is the worst thing. But it just kind of seems off. It doesn't fit right, and I can't really pin down why I don't like it, or why I'm not too happy with it, but there's something there. There's something there, and I'm not sure what it is, but I'm not a huge fan of it. But again, it's not a deal breaker for me. It's not the worst thing in the world. Going back to our final two good points, we have the colours. I think this game's colour palette is great. We've been stuck in a very grey city for 3 games, practically. I think Saints Row 2 had quite a grey scale of it. Saints Row 3 had an equally grey thing, at least in the original game. And Saints Row 4 is just, well, I could not stand that game's colour palette whatsoever. So, the way this game's colours kind of bounce around, I'm a huge fan of it, actually. And I really like the direction it's going within its colour palette. So, yeah, I think its colours look phenomenal. And I can't wait again to drive around and take in the scenery of these awesome colours bouncing around the map. And for our final good point, animals. I love that they are incorporating animals into Saints Row. A big pet peeve of me in open world games is never having wildlife. It's like, yeah, we're in such a big living city, but there's not a single animal in sight. Oh, look, we're in the woods, but there's not a single animal. It was always something that quite annoyed me in open world games, and I'm looking forward to seeing it now. Now, our final bad point is one I was reminded of by Mark, and it was that there's only 2 cribs. I concede that the HQ is really a big hub for everything Saints Row, and I can see that there is plenty of customization options, which, by the way, huge good point. But what I have to say is there being only one real crib that's customizable is it's a bit of a bummer, I can't lie. Coming from Saints Row 2, it had plenty of cribs to customize, but even Saints Row 3 had multiple cribs. I don't know, it just seems like the older games managed to get the cribs down, and this newer one only having 2 is a bit of a shocker to me. Again, not deal breaking, it's not something I'm going to cry about, but I know a lot of people weren't too happy when they heard that, and myself was kind of included. 2 cribs is not very many, but hey, we'll see what they can do with the HQ. Anyway, thank you for watching. I know this video was kind of on the longer side, you know, we're edging around 10 minutes I think now. I hope this kind of conveyed my thoughts on the overall things we've seen so far with the reboot, a couple good points, a couple bad points, and I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate the support, appreciate the love, and peace out, man.